This video was brought to you by Magic Spoon. As though I didn't have enough reason to love Magic Spoon and their delicious cereal, now they've got a brand new product, Magic Spoon Treats. This is the tastiness of their other products in a convenient bar form. Of course, that makes these treats perfect for snacking anywhere. They've got 11 grams of protein, but only 1 gram of sugar and 1 to 2 net grams of carbs per bar. So I love to take one whenever I go for a long walk or basically do any kind of exercise. Most importantly though, my gosh, these things are delectable. We're talking crispy, pillowy goodness. If you want to try some Magic Spoon treats, click the link in the description and use the code ARLO, or simply head to magicspoon.com/Arlo, or even more simply, use this QR code and you will get $5 off your order. I recommend trying both flavors, chocolatey peanut butter and marshmallow. If you ask me, these things are good enough to eat with a knife and fork. Not that I actually do that. I'm doing it for the video, you know, for the bit. I don't do that normally. Look, not him. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Nintendo did a bad. Oh, yep. It's one of those videos. One of those days. Everybody talking about all the amazing games coming out this year. Oh, Mario Wonder, it's the best thing ever. You know, nope. Back to business. Gotta get back to it today. Nintendo done it bad. Now, it is no secret that Nintendo does not have the best relationship with its fans when it comes to certain topics, and one of those topics is tournaments. That relationship has been a bit rocky, let's just say that. This is because a tournament is something that fans can do on their own. This is something that pertains to Nintendo games often, but they are taking that entertainment and making their own entertainment out of it. And that is what Nintendo does not like. Nintendo wants to have absolute control over how we enjoy their stuff. They don't like the idea of us taking it into our own hands. This is unfortunately one of those old-fashioned attitude things. You know, Nintendo has made great strides in better understanding the fans and all that stuff, letting the younger people at the company make decisions and make games and all that, but you still get stuff like this. There are still certain areas where they are just so frustratingly ignorant. So long story short, Nintendo updated their guidelines for running tournaments. They laid out a big old list of rules that you gotta follow if you want to run a tournament where people are playing Nintendo games. I'm not gonna go into all the little details. There's a really great video over on Good Vibes Gaming where Steve runs down the entire list of all the rules and talks about them. Go watch that if you want a pretty detailed look. The gist of it though, if you want it all kind of summed up into one neat little package, it's no fun allowed. It's stop having fun, please. It's don't do tournaments anymore. That feels to me what Nintendo is trying to communicate. It feels like they are essentially trying to kill tournaments, trying to kill anything but the biggest, most perfectly licensed and sanctioned events that they have a hand in, or the smallest, most casual events where it's really just a bunch of friends getting together. Anything in between those two, they do not like. There are so many restrictions, so many hard caps on everything. And like really the biggest thing here is that they don't want anyone making money at all in any way. They don't want anyone to have even 1 cent of profit from a tournament. And here's the thing, you know, I think there may be some people listening to this right now who are thinking, oh, well, I mean, that makes sense. Nintendo made these games. No one should be profiting from them, but that is an overly simplistic way of looking at this. This is the thing about tournaments. Here's the thing about tournaments, is as with many things, as with like YouTube and streaming and all that stuff, this is something that Nintendo does not like, but helps them tremendously. Literally only benefits them. And they came around when it came to the YouTube. They eventually realized that that was only helping them, and they were only hurting themselves by trying to stop us, but they still feel this way about tournaments. Tournaments, they just spread the word of Nintendo. They just get people playing Nintendo, and all these people, they already own these games. They're already Nintendo fans. They're already spending money. There's really no need to stop them. And a lot of tournaments only exist because people can make money from them. That's what literally enables them to run the tournament. Here's the thing about making money. Making money is not just profit. If you say, oh, I did a tournament and I made money, you could have just made enough money to pay yourself for the time to do the tournament, to run it in the first place. You know what I mean? This is not like people like money grubbing, like, ah ha ha, how much can I make from this? This is like, I can't do this unless I can get something from it, unless I can be paid somewhat for my time. And that's the problem with insisting that no one can make any money. People making money on tournaments is one of the reasons that tournaments exist at all, that we have tournaments. And it's funny because these guidelines, they covered all their bases. I don't think there are any loopholes here that I can see. It's like, hey, you don't make money on a tournament. You can't charge spectators. You can't charge people just to watch the tournament. Okay, well then, we'll just, I don't know, we can still charge an entry fee. There's a hard cap on entry fees. It's up to $20 per person, period. Done. You can't go any higher than that. Future Arlo inserting a quick note here. You can charge spectators, but there's also a hard cap on that amount, and the money can only go toward event costs and not prizes, meaning that prizes have to come out of pocket, meaning it's even harder to pay for the prize pool. Oh, that's okay. Well, there's always sponsors, right? We can always just get the event sponsored. No sponsors. You're not allowed. What do you mean I'm not allowed? How can you stop me from just somebody saying, hey, you're doing an event. Put this sign on the wall and I'll give you $10. Not allowed. Not allowed. Okay, well, if we can't be sponsored and we can only charge $20 per entry, then we'll just make sure to have a lot of entries, a lot of people entering. No, hard cap, 200 people in person, 300 people online. That's it. That's how big your tournament is allowed to be. Oh, okay. So, we can only have 200 people at this. We can't be sponsored. Hard $20. You know what? That's fine. We'll just sell drinks. We'll sell drinks and snacks. Nope, chop not. Do not do that. You are blocked. You cannot sell merchandise or food at the event. You see the problem here. They don't want these events to happen at all. They want to kill tournaments. And this will kill a lot of tournaments. Just kill them dead. There's other stuff too. Like I said, there's loads of articles and videos about all this. I'm not going into all of it, but there's like one thing about how nobody can use third-party stuff. And as people have pointed out, sometimes third-party stuff is an accessibility thing that allows people to do the tournament and to play the games at all. Nope, not allowed. Guess they can't be included. And it goes on and on like this. All these little limitations, all of this. This is baloney. It's just a lot of baloney. They just don't want tournaments to happen anymore. And there are ways you can get around some of these guidelines. I think you can do officially sanctioned tournaments, but then you have to have a license, and we have every reason to believe that's not gonna get easier, because that has been a thing that people say is very difficult, and there are many roadblocks. Nintendo makes it extremely difficult to actually run a licensed event. You know why? Because they don't want you to. They do not want you to do it. They don't like people playing their games in the way that they don't like and that they can't control. Now here's the thing. We're gonna give Nintendo at least the smallest, tiniest little speck of a benefit of the doubt. Sometimes companies will create guidelines for whatever that are really unnecessarily strict, even though they don't necessarily plan on enforcing all of these guidelines. Sometimes they will say that there are very strict rules just so they have the key to shut down any event that they don't like. Maybe they don't actually plan on enforcing all of this. They don't have this special task force that goes out, the strike team, finds tournaments. It's like, hey, how much are you charging? Oh, you're selling chips over there. That's probably not gonna happen. But as long as they have all of these guidelines in place, it means that if something comes up that does seem problematic, then they have a lot of reasons to pull the plug. They can basically shut down anybody and just say, oops, sorry, you broke the guidelines. Whoops. And that makes this a granule, a speck of sand amount easier to swallow, because it could mean that they're not necessarily doing this in a very, very out of touch, hateful kind of way, you know? Maybe they don't hate tournament people that much. They're doing this just to cover themselves legally, but that doesn't help that much because, like, one, they're still giving us these guidelines, and it's still making them look like huge jerks. You know, it's still really further harming their relationship with a lot of their fans. And it is going to prevent a lot of tournaments. There are a lot of people out there who are like, I'm not gonna mess with this. I'm not gonna mess with Nintendo. I'm not gonna try to do an underground tournament. I'm not gonna just try to do it and hope that they don't intervene. I am sure that this will successfully shut down the vast majority of tournaments where people play Nintendo games. And that's so sad. That's so incredibly sad. And we could go on and on all day about how ridiculous this is and how out of touch Nintendo is, but whatever. I'm done. I said my bit. It's just absurd. It's really, really absurd. Tournaments only help Nintendo. Tournaments are such an incredibly important thing in the community. Another thing that some people have pointed out is that, like, oh, well, there's other big companies who have restrictive guidelines like this. I don't know enough about the guidelines of all the other companies to know that. If that is true, then it does lend some weight to the idea that this is all just kind of like a legal safety net for them, I guess. But I don't know enough about other companies and their policies to really get into that because this is not a comprehensive video. I will leave you with one more thing, though. One more thing. This is something that Steve pointed out in the video I was talking about. All of these guidelines, all of these super hard restrictions. There's one other little thing that they threw in there. They basically also threw in one little clause that says, you gotta follow all these rules or we will pull the plug, or we could pull the plug on any event that we think is inappropriate. They just say that, even if you are following the rules, if we just think this is bad, we just think this is inappropriate, we'll pull the plug on that too. So they're giving themselves the ability to pull the plug on anything. Even if you do follow every single ridiculous rule, they can still, if they want to, just be like, sorry, we're not even gonna give you a reason. We're just gonna shut you down. We just don't like you. And that is gross. And stupid. I'm just gonna come out and say it. I think this is stupid. What do you think about this? You let us know down in the comments. Come on, Nintendo. Come on, Nintendo. Get it together. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go back to playing Mario Wonder and paying for a Nintendo Switch Online membership.